One of the unique things about the church is that it's one of the only organizations that exists for its non-members. See, when you think about the heartbeat of a local church, it's to share the gospel with unreached people. And so for churches to focus on what their mission is, which would be to share the message of Jesus Christ with the community, it is so important to have a first-time guest marketing strategy. However, many times when we're talking with church leaders and we ask them, what's their first-time guest marketing strategy? There's not always a clear strategy that comes after that question.
And we understand as marketers that you guys as church leaders probably didn't take Marketing 101 in college. And so a part of our heartbeat at Connect is to help you guys feel empowered to have a clear communication plan, not just for your current congregation, but also to reach out into your community to help reach these first-time guests that might not know about your church, but might be sitting directly in your backyard.
As we look at the landscape of America today, there was a recent study that was done that said about 71% of Americans are not involved in a local church. Now that sounds like a lot of people. Some people even argue that that number is a little bit low because it is self-reported. Maybe it's even closer to, as some people have said, up to 80% of Americans not involved in a local church. Now, that seems like terrible news. It's not great news, but the good news in that is that in the year before, there were even more people who reported that they were not involved in a local church. So that number is going down. So there is opportunity there, which means the importance of having a first-time guest marketing strategy because of the curiosity and spirituality that is out there is even more important now for us to take advantage of these opportunities.
Yeah, and so exciting part about today is we are gonna step in to a little bit about what marketing is gonna look like for your church. We're gonna break it down. If you're used to the regular business world of marketing, we want you guys to have a clean, fresh start, clear your mind, and we're gonna reshape what marketing looks like for your church. And
so if you've seen the business world, you've probably heard of the idea of a funnel. And what a funnel shows is the journey that a customer goes on in an effort to purchase a product or to secure a service, where it starts with the whole population. And this is the whole world who's out there. And marketers are throwing ads at them and billboards and all the things. And you know because you've seen them all the time. And once someone expresses interest, they move a little bit further down the funnel where they get a little more detailed information. And then they might move to the point of purchase. And then they eventually get discarded and they go away into the population again because the business or organization has taken everything that they possibly could. See, we would argue when it comes to local churches that this is an old way of thinking. And we want to show you a new way to think about this idea.
And the new way to think about this idea is to get rid of the funnel and to now step into this hourglass theory. And a little bit about what the hourglass looks like is it's breaking up into 3 parts. And the first phase of this is our meat phase. And we're gonna go into each of these in further detail. And then the second is our greet. And then lastly is we're gonna go into our repeat phase, which is super important as we step in to not discarding these people in the normal funnel process, but we're actually continuing to create a strategy to re-communicate with them so that they never feel like they're questioning what's their next step or how do I plug into your church or what small group can I be a part of. It's always clear and simple. If that's through email, text, social, all these things are a part of this phase.
So the whole purpose of this funnel is to have a clear way that your church can think about what are the steps someone goes through to become a regular attender or member of our church. And it starts with the meet phase. See, a lot of church leaders think the meet phase happens when someone shows up to an event or to church. And we would argue that that is an old way of thinking. The new way of thinking is thinking about your digital presence whenever it comes to your church's marketing channel. So your website, your social media, your ads that you're running, the signs that you have around town. This is the meat phase. See, 80% plus, 80+% of people who come to your church have already checked your church out on your digital sites, which means they've already solidified their first opinion of your church. And we know that first impression is really, really, really important. So the meet phase is important because that's where the first impression is made, and that's where you're going to be interacting with people for the very first time.
And the greet phase actually has two parts. It's the pre-visit and then the in-person side of things. And like Nate said, people are on their phones, people are on their laptops. We're digital human beings now. That's where our generation is kind of turning towards. So why not meet people where they're at this step one, which would be the pre-visit. And so when we're going through this phase, they're filling out forms like the plan your visit form, where basically we're getting their contact information, and then we're just simply following up with them, telling them that we're excited for when they come to church, where to park, what to wear, who they can get connected to, where the first guest table is. All those things will be communicated to them in that pre-visit stage. And then one of the most exciting parts for us is this in-person phase. So this is where we actually get to build life-giving relationships with people. This is where the heartbeat of a lot of local ministry leaders is at, which is where we want you guys to thrive. So this is where you might see people coming to the host table where you get a first-time guest back. And this could be something where we're able to now plug in to hear about who you are and who our church is, and then be able to build relationships and connect you with like-minded people within our church body.
A lot of church leaders have told us that their first-time guest marketing strategy starts at the second half of that greet phase. And if that's the case for your church, then you're missing out on about half of the Hourglass process. But that takes us to phase number 3, which is the repeat phase, which is where we're trying to get first-time guests to come back to church. See, only about 10% of first-time guests actually get involved in the church as a member or regular attender. On the flip side, people who come back for a second time, about 80 to 90% of those people get involved as a regular attender or a member of a church. So getting a family or a new person back to your church to repeat their visit is so important. So that's the third part of our first-time guest marketing strategy. What plays do we need to run to make sure that we're following up personally and encouraging new people to come back? So it's an important phase because that's where the real life-changing relationships can happen.
And one of the biggest parts of this entire Hourglass is pairing the idea of meeting people where they're at on a digital side, but then also having these life-giving relationships once they come in person. And then you guys as ministry leaders and as your current congregation and as you're building disciples, you're able to really pour into the people that are new to make them feel like they have a place, they have a home, they feel loved, and they feel seen. And that's what's going to keep people coming back to this repeat phase, like Nate said, to continue to build these relationships over time on digital, but then really in person is where that life begins to really flourish.
Now, you might be hearing about this Hourglass and thinking, oh man, our church does not have any strategy around our first-time guest marketing plan. And to that we say, that's okay, but what's not okay is it staying like that. So we have some additional videos for you that break down each one of these phases with practical steps about how you can start your first-time guest marketing strategy so that it is effective and meeting new people on a regular basis. So make sure to check out those videos to start meeting new people today.